Good evening, everyone. This is Melanie Lynette here with Level 4 Nice Schwarz, here to bring you a special tournament report from JP World Grand Prix North America 2025-2026 in Rochester, New York. And these are your hosts' reflections on my top 8 journey through the event. And to help me out with this, so that the audience isn't just listening to me ramble, I have one of my local players, Nice Schwarz, who's here tonight to help me out.
Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm just here to help keep the conversation going and maybe throw a few curveball questions in.
I'm here for the curveballs. Let's have some fun. So I haven't really published a ton of bio information on the blog. I probably at some point in time should do that. I've been playing Nice Schwarz since 2014. I found Sword Art Online cards while buying singles for a Magic Commander deck, and it started out as, I'll just get a couple of cards to collect. And then I found a starter deck, and then I found a YouTube video on how to play, and I just decided to give it a try. I realized that there were more animes in the game because I found the English version first, like a lot of people, that were in the JP version. So I quickly got sucked into the Key Void and Nisekoi, which was my first JP set, and got into both sides. My first notable top was 4th place at the 2014 JP North America World Grand Prix with Nisekoi. Since then, I haven't had any super big tops, but I've had some small Origins top 4s and some other larger local events. But I have qualified for JP Nationals multiple times, and I've had a lot of fun at English Regionals. My local Nice Schwarz can attest to this. I'm super passionate about teaching the game, deck building, helping to grow and run local communities, and I love being a tournament organizer, so probably don't play as much as I should because I love running events, but it's all good.
Yeah, I just call it that, you've been playing that entire time. You've helped grow the game at several stores. And yeah, it's just been a blast.
Yep, and it always will be. It's a lot of fun. All right, so
your deck.
Yeah, the deck list. I feel like at this point there comes a point in time in the moment during the season, and Nice Schwarz can attest to this, that people just start glazing over repeat deck lists. And mine isn't exactly that, but it's pretty close. So I played 4-door, 4 pants, or as their official names say, 4 comeback, 4 gate, Oshinoko. And I just had some my following reflections on my deck list that day. I think the biggest change I made from I've playtested so many iterations of this deck, is I decided after losing a ton of games the 2 weeks before Nationals to cut any of the deny on reverse stuff that wasn't the Brainstormer. So there's of course the 0/0 Aqua that is our modified JC effect. It's the pay 1, send it to memory, and bounce something that's front attacked other than itself back to hand. And then there's another really interestingly funny 0/0 Kana that says you can sacrifice something in your front row and she can run to an empty back row slot, and she can still sacrifice something at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase and fail to run to the back slot. But both those cards, I just kept eating a ton of damage early game and not being able to recover. And the Aqua kept costing me a lot of stock that I would have rather used at level 2 and 3 because the deck's rather greedy, and that's not going to change. So did you have any reflections when you looked at my list, Nice Schwarz, or?
I mean, you kind of are hitting a little bit. I was going to ask, I know that you went through a lot of iterations on this. I was going to ask what specific cards, that maybe were in your very first list that you really liked, but then turned out, once you got to practice with them, maybe they weren't great for this meta, or, they didn't jive with your play style, things like that.
So I was pretty hesitant to run the Akane 0/0 Climax swap in blue. She's the new style one that, when you play her, you sacrifice a character on stage to waiting room to climax swap from deck. And I kept misplaying it, honestly. So I actually didn't have it in my first, 5 builds of the deck. I was running the TD Clean Cut 2K Ruby, traditional, pay one, pitch a climax, salvage climax, climax swap. But again, the deck is, super greedy. And I ended up having to like make some decisions and deciding like that and the 3-2 Ruby were the better ways to fix climaxes. The 0-0 Kana got added later. I originally playtested the series and I had it like strictly locked blue-red, and I had it strictly yellow deck because I was running and testing a bunch of the 8-choice stuff because I wanted to test the new level 1 Memcho combo. And so the Kana runners were actually in my yellow deck for the longest time. And they kind of caught on me because they hit a decent power level. They can sometimes survive and mess with things, especially with the Brainstormer bounce. So they ended up kind of sneaking their way into this deck in various quantities. I'm trying to think. I think the other card that kind of got cut from the list the more I playtested was any form of stock swap or stock mess, because of just the deck is very greedy, and even with the 0-0 Kane to help out with that, it was just too much stock to ever really reliably light those and then capitalize on finisher. And also, Akane doesn't mind a compressed deck because she wants to mill your climaxes from bottom for the heal 1, burn 1. So, I think those are kind of like the big changes. My level 0 game got less techie too over time, I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was to say, yeah, I think a lot of people have, strong but polarizing opinions on finishers like this, with the presence of things like stock swap. Is it worth it to do the stock swap when you're could be using this resource on another finisher that doesn't necessarily get as punished as a heavy from a heavy compression deck as things that are more like burn 3s, burn 4s, things like that. So that was good to hear. The other thing I was going to ask is if you had a 51 or 52nd card in this deck, something like you really wanted to put in here but you just couldn't find the room for it after all your testing. Like, it was performing well, it just didn't make the final cut.
If I could fit like one more copy of either the Aqua Riki or a Climax swap, I would definitely put it in here just for consistency assurance. I also think if I could add one more of the 2-1 bounce back to hand Akane that I teched in near the end as I was getting ready for the event, that card came to be very useful, and I feel there's an argument as this deck potentially heads into the English meta in March and April that there might be an argument for that going to a 2-of. I don't know right now though. I feel like there's ways to recur it, and so you don't have to run it as a 2-of, but the deck also the level 1 checks for level 2s or higher, so anytime you can toss in more higher level cards sometimes helps level 1.
Yeah, there's a bit of a payoff for that, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to ask was, you kind of hinted around it, but were there specific matchups you were practicing for or you were worried about when you were considering this deck? So,
originally earlier in this season, so like back in August and September, obviously the big boogeyman of the season was Gaku and Idolmaster, and the resurgence or the revitalization of the level 1 on reverse combo, which we used to tech ways to deal with all the time like 3 or 4 years ago, but now it's kind of just like we've gotten used to on attacks, and so that deck kind of flipped that. And there's also the 2-1 Akane that I was just talking about got added into the deck to deal with things like that the new Kinryo 3-2 Natsu's top end from Fairy Tail, any of the Gaku and Idolmaster, their early playthrough too, that say during their battle, you don't take damage from auto effects, which Akane can side around those and still get that, but then you're hoping to trigger an extra soul trigger, which this deck can do. Probably more reliable than some other ones, but not that reliably. So that tech got added in definitely as well. After a while, though, as I playtested leading up to the event the month before, I realized that I was overthinking matchups, and that's why certain things got cut from my list for other things. I kind of decided, wait a minute, we're going too far reactionary here, and we just need to further our own game.
No, yep, that makes sense. I've definitely talked to players with philosophies of making the deck as consistent in its own game plan versus, matchup specific tech cards for sure. Because it also depends on how much can the matchup, impact your direct game plan, which I don't think, there's too much that wants to directly hurt or punish what this deck wants to do. So you're a little safe there.
Yeah, it's one of the unique things about this deck is it kind of just solitaires with itself and then changes into a pretty ridiculous endgame. If you can get the change off, you shut off, I think it's events during Akane's battle. I'd have to double check that. And she gets extra powers, so it even gets around like Nikkei's rest event and stuff without too much extra, hey, I need more cards in here going on. So the deck has ways to respond to people while just furthering its own game and not sacrificing deck space for anything else.
And then one last one on the deck list before we get to the tournament report. And you can go as deep or as not as you went on this, but I know that you were looking at a few other series potentially to play for this. You want to talk a little bit about that experience and why you decided to go with this one?
So, as a lot of people locally know, and as I'm sure people on the channel are quickly figuring out, because it's not like my first video wasn't me live streaming opening a Key 25th anniversary case. Melanie has a Key obsession problem. So, Key 25th was coming out like a week before Nationals, and we get spoilers, and so I was doing anything in my power to see if I could use cards that I already owned as kind of proxies to test weird shells of updated like Key anniversary decks. And I went through probably 10 to 12 different lists, and I decided the weekend that I got the set, I played some games locally on Saturday, I played some games locally on Sunday, and at the end of all those games, I won some, I lost some, nothing like really crazy results-wise, and I was just like, wow, I'm not comfortable with these at all. I am not going to perform well with these decks because I just haven't spent enough time on them for me personally as a player. And this series I've been playtesting since February, pretty much nonstop. Super excited during spoiler season, and then I was like, got it, and I was just like building all kinds of random goofy stuff. And I was just like, you know what, for once, we're not going to sit here and try to do something crazy with Summer Pockets or with Key 25th Anniversary. We're just going to go with what we know and just let it go for once. That was kind of the decision-making process.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And would you say, now that you've had a little bit more time since then, I know you've picked up, even a new set since then, but you feel a little bit better about some of your key sets, or you feel like you're still exploring?
Oh, I'm definitely still exploring. That anniversary booster is an interesting hot mess. Like, there's a lot of cards, and a lot of the Key anime series have very large card pools, so it takes a while to like brew and process that. Like, even looking at the results so far on Japan that are tracked on Kalua's WordPress blog, there's There's like some pants lists running around. There's some choice lists running around for Key Anniversary. There's been a bunch of other random key builds that have topped and or done well at locals over in Japan. Even Japan is still figuring out what to do with that set. And every time I look at a deck list for it that somebody else is brewing, they are also like not necessarily matching what I saw like a week or two ago. So I think there's going to be a lot of figuring out with that. I also picked up Kinryo, which is a ton of fun. Smaller set, of course, but I'll keep testing that and figuring that out as I go. I kind of put Oshi on the back burner because I played it so much leading up to Nationals. I was like, okay, we'll take an Oshi break until I get my English set in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Great. Well, I think I exhausted all the things I wanted to grill you on here, so let's hear about your rounds.
All right. So, my first round, I sat down and faced off against Data Live, and it was the 8 book, and it's the new book trigger with Nia from that series, and got a win. A very talented opponent, really polite. We had a great game, and I only got to play against this deck once before the event, so I really didn't know all of what it could do because I didn't get to see everything in the playtest game that I had against it, and he just was short resources most of the game. It was fairly even up until level 2, and then he got into a situation where, like, so the 3-2 Nina can on play get back her climax to hand from waiting room, or you can choose the climax and put it in stock, and then the idea is that you use that stock immediately to either early play another one or to play something else. And he did that, but then during the battle phase, he proceeded to trigger several more book climaxes, and he just couldn't get them paid out, and hand dwindled. I sent him to level 3 with a damage pocket, and then he did swing me back to 3. It was a little nerve-wracking because I thought, oh crap, I'm not going to cancel here. But I did. And then Akane, I think I unfortunately just one Akane finished out the game there because he was already at like 3-3 or 3-4 if I remember properly.
Great, let's hear about your round 2.
So round 2 was a win against Kaiju number 8 and was running 8 comeback. Very solid game, really strong opponent. His deck was very fine-tuned, and I appreciated how unique his build was because he was running more yellow than I've seen from some of the locals I've playtested against on the set, and he had splashed in the yellow event, so we had a pretty decent back and forth, and again, until late, I was late level 1, he was just barely level 2, like he was like 2-1 off a refresh or something like that. And then I canceled pretty well. I think I canceled 2 out of 3 attacks that turn. So I still went to level 2, but I just hit a pocket of damage at level 2, and that was kind of the game. I did get to go to level 3 and then close out with Akane again. I think the other thing that I noticed in this game too was there wasn't really any reason for me to play my back row early game, level 0 and 1. Like, I don't think I dropped my Brainstormer until I hit level 1 and wanted to make sure I had enough on board to meet the Kana level 1 climax combo requirement. And so he went to 1 first and lit his blow up the back row combo, and it just didn't do anything because I didn't have anything there, and I just kept holding on to an extra Brainstormer most of the game, so that whole part of the deck didn't really bother me. But I also, if you didn't know the matchup, you wouldn't know to play around that, and I just got lucky I wasn't in a game state where I had to drop it early.
Yeah, it's definitely a mechanic that can get people if you're not prepared for it, or like even certain decks, you know, they really want a back row and then they get punished for it. But you know, if you know it's coming, you can try to play around it. And so always interested to hear people's thoughts on that one.
Yeah, it reminds me of my rewrite Guardians deck that I just rebuilt. Losing the back row in that deck is like the end of the universe. So, because it's so hard to get it on board. Round 3, I had the most close game of the day. My opponent was a professional pilot on Eurocamp, 6 gold bar and 2 gate. He was running 4 of the Chiaki, 2 Ao, and 2 Ren. Very close. We actually barely avoided going to time. Like, we finished our game, like, maybe, like, 90 seconds before they called time in the round. Both of us just hit really ideal compressed deck states. We both had a ton of stock resources that were clean, and we just kept canceling and canceling. He went to level 3 first, and somehow I survived his finisher turn to answer back with Akane for the win. It was a super well-played game. It was very close, and props to my opponent, because that, like I said, it was a nail-biter. It could have gone either way at any point in time.
Okay, let's hear about round 4.
Round 4 was against Love Live Hasunusora 8 standby, and I know from locals this matchup can be very close and hard for Oshi to deal with if they get things going, especially at level 2. But I genuinely felt horrible for my opponent this round. His deck literally just shut down and said no. He mulliganed 2 climaxes from his own opening hand, and then he went first. So he drew, clock, drew. Then he played a card that could, like, on-play filter and ditched a 3rd climax. Then he played a 4th climax to stand by something out. And at that point, I'm, like, sitting there, and he was also, like, kind of showing it in his body language that, like, he was out already a ton of climaxes. And after that, it felt like every time he got close to stabilizing, he'd just trigger 2 or 3 standby in a row, and then they were in his stock and didn't get refreshed back in. So he just kept eating pockets of damage. In the way, he was very composed. He played out his game as he could. He was short resources all game because he got rushed to level 2. But he did push me to 3, but it ended pretty quickly with the burns from 1 Akane, because he was already at like 3-4, I think. He wasn't able to capitalize on her heal stuff because he was so far behind. I actually wish his deck had behaved, because it should have been a much closer game than it was.
One thing I wanted to ask about this one specifically, upon hearing a lot of that and reading this one ahead of time, is when you saw that they were showing that many of the CXs are already out of the deck, did that change how you wanted to play your early turns, or did you decide to stick to a normal game plan, or what was that process like?
I stuck to mostly a normal game plan at 0, because I didn't want to overextend myself to push too much for damage. Oshi also does run a lot of things with soul triggers, like the Pants Climax has soul triggers on it. There's slightly more 2s and 3s than some decks run, especially at level 2. There's more 2s than most decks run. So there's already extra soul triggers, and like I said, he went first, I went second, so I was direct attacking. So at my first turn at level 0, I didn't play really much any differently. I still +1'd him, took out what he had on board, went from there. But then from level 1 on, like most decks, you're putting down a climax because you want your climax combo. So it kind of just naturally occurred because I was attacking 3 times and playing a climax. And because he didn't get ideal board setup, and also because the Kana 1-0 hits, she hits like 108k without even trying. So, like, she can challenge with the 1-0 Aqua if you play the deck correctly. If you're able to, she's able to challenge power level wise some standby deck stuff. So that also didn't help because he didn't get like to stand by out his level assist like, you know, at 1. And some of those defensive tools that help standby decks solidify their board state. He did eventually get them. It was just later than normal.
Yeah, definitely was curious to hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think it's a hard... I don't know how you think on it. I feel like it's a hard decision because, like, you don't want to get super excited and then misplay it just because you see it.
I mean, I'll say for me personally, it's always a case-by-case basis. It sort of depends on what deck I'm playing, what my hand looks like. You know, if I feel like I can stabilize after pushing a little bit, like my deck doesn't care, or maybe it's a little bit more flexible in that regards, or I think I can recoup if I lose an extra card or 2 from hand that I wasn't maybe not have played otherwise. I'll go for it, but then sometimes it's also that you know, again, depending on my deck's game plan at 1 is, maybe it's not right to push them because you know, their one game plan could deny my one game plan or something like that. So just wanted to pick your brain on it.
It's very case by case scenario. I wanted to be sure not to overextend my hand, especially because it was round 4. Round 5.
Okay, let's hear about the rest. Last round of Swiss. Yeah.
So last round of Swiss. At this point, I can't believe I've gone 4-0 at this point. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. That was like a thing. I was pretty surprised and excited to sit down against Yotsuba. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. And I've played a lot of games against Nino and Miku and some of the other Quince girls, but Yotsuba I actually have only played against maybe 1 time. And my opponent was somewhat familiar with my deck, and we had a wonderful match. Both of us asked a bunch of questions about each other's cards and clarified other card effects because we both were kind of going into the match like, hey, what does that do? Hey, what does that do? He unfortunately couldn't seem to get his climax combo for his level 1 game, so he had trouble doing what he wanted. Alongside, he just ate some unfortunate pockets of unexpected damage. He tried to push for game, and he did send me to level 3, but he was just so far behind, I just kind of closed it out. I had a really great game against him. It was excellent, and it was a very nice game. And that was when they announced, hey, we have a clear top cut. We're going to start doing deck checks. And I was sitting there like...
Most fearsome of foes.
Yeah, like... I'll be honest, at that point I was like really kind of flabbergasted because I've never gone undefeated in Swiss before at a Weiss event for top cut. So that was kind of like the first accomplishment of the day. It's like, oh, I can go undefeated in Swiss.
So did you want to talk about that deck check experience, or you want to jump straight into your top cut matches?
Well, I'll just pause on this side. I got called up very early for deck check because I was 2nd overall ranked after Swiss. And just so the audience knows, it's come up in a couple of my other interviews. We didn't play out till 1 undefeated. The Japanese circuit has the rule of you play out so that there's a clean record top cut. And so we stopped with 3 XOs because there were 3 of us that were XO after Swiss, but then all the 4-1 records on down completed what was pretty much a clean top 16, and that's why the software stopped us there and proceeded to deck checks. I was called up pretty early. You always get nervous. Like, I had put new sleeves on the night before. I had, like, done all the double checking stuff on Bushy Navi. I double checked my code, and it was fine. But then after my deck check it was done, it's like you have to wait for them to do everybody else's. So it's just like this very long purgatory wait.
Do you feel like that let you go refreshed in a top cut, or do you feel like you lost some of your momentum because you had to wait so long?
It's a hard call, honestly. Like, I get so nervous at these events that, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, other people ran off and grabbed snacks and stuff, and I did get a drink, I did, but I get so nervous, I can't really eat or do anything in between on those breaks. It just doesn't work for me, so it's like, okay, take care of some necessities, but just sit and chill. I don't know that it made a difference one way or another. At this point.
Sounds good. Well, let's get into your top 16 match.
So my top 16 match, and this was, I actually had pretty large odds of this happening, was unfortunately a pairing against a local teammate that I often play test with and lose games to in our server. And in fact, we had done some play testing ahead of time through our conquest matches that we run in our one Discord server, and specifically Gakuin versus Oshi. Like, that was actually a thing. And it was actually during some of the games that I played against him that I realized that the whole, like, sack to get around Gakuin wasn't really working, at least for me. If on paper, it made the most sense. I've written up the article with his interview on the blog, and that's kind of important to go read through because he's an amazing player, but just didn't have time to do a video interview with the other events he was doing and travel he was doing. So we kind of did it back and forth on the blog over this, but early game, Zero kind of just played out as normal. Definitely had the advantage. And my Brainstormer Kana's top check at 0-6 whiffed, so it left him 3 really easy on-reverse targets for his 1-0 Saki, which he got pushed to, like, he was at, like, 1-3, I think. And he just kind of was going through his deck, like I've seen him before in playtesting. He was brainstorming, he did double helmet to start his memory game off, and then he missed at least 1, if not 2 brainstorms, and then suddenly realized, and it took me forever to register because I was just looking at my board going, and I should mention at this point too that the Kana top check was a climax. So I knew I was at least canceling 1 attack. And I was at 0-6, so I wasn't worried about sending myself to 1. But I was like, okay, well, at least cancel once here. Hopefully I can cancel twice and not get, like, pushed too fast through level 1. And then slowly dawns on me as he's doing all the helmet effects. I'm like, wait, how many times is he attacking this turn? And I realize he only has 2 1-0 Sakis and the climax in hand. And so he kind of gets stuck in a position where he played both of them, played the climax, and then one of the Sakis fails her stock. So he gets the on reverse effect, but like it's just another climax that goes over to stock on the next attack. And then I proceed to level 1, and Kana basically deals him a bunch of damage, and it sticks. And Kana's top checks are all, the last one I did was a rearrange for, it was like a character and 2 climaxes. So I was like, well, I'm not sticking climaxes in stock. So I send the character over, but I know I have 2 cancels on top of my deck. And so I actually spent like an extra turn at 1 and then did it again the next turn. Now he did push me to level 2, and then from there I played 1 turn, and he stuck 7 damage. So I pushed him to 3, but he didn't have enough resources to do his level 3 combo. Like, he could have lit one of them, but it just wasn't worth it, I don't think. And he thought, oh, well, there's no way I'm going to push her. I was like 2-0. There's no way I'm going to push her all the way to 2-6 or to level 3. And so he pretty much did everything in his power to keep me stuck at 2, and it backfired. I just ate 7 straight. Honestly deserved at this point. The entire turn I was looking at the 0-0 Aqua Riki in my hand that I was going to use as a pitch target. I was like, oh, well, at least if he tries to leave me at 2-6 or something, I can brainstorm refresh point and Riki myself to 3. But I didn't even have to do that because I ate 7 straight. It was so deserved at that point. And then from there, Akane closed out the game, I think, on the 2nd attack.
Okay, well, let's hear about your top 8 next.
Top 8 was my round 5 Swiss rematch. So this time, my opponent's deck actually ran incredibly well. Multiple chances to get off level 1. Unfortunately, I just kept eating pockets of damage, in a compressed deck, both at level 1 and level 2, without canceling as expected. On the turn he sent me to level 3, he was like at 2-3 or 2-2. He was like, it was not like, it was going to be like a big push, but he had actually done something incredibly wise that turn. Instead of wasting resources from hand and trying to contest my 2-1 board state, he just pushed up a bunch of zeros and crashed them. So Akane does overswing, and because the deck runs more level 2s, 3s for the changer, and of course the pants trigger, your chances of swinging for 5 on a direct attack are very high. And he left me nothing decided against, which would have been ideal in that stick. And then at that point, also Akane's burns also kept failing. He was fairly compressed, but it just didn't work out. I found the 1s and 2s on the bottom of his deck instead of that. I did push him to 3 at least, and I did heal myself down to 3-0, but it just wasn't enough for the game. He was able to force me to mill refresh my deck and take care of my compression, and then Icy Tail finisher off for game. Stunk a little bit, but also I don't mind losing. Just like, he went on to win the event, so I kind of get to put a feather in my cap of, oh, the only game I lost of the day was to the person who won the whole thing, and I did beat him once in Swiss. So
yeah, I mean, like, you definitely had a great run here. Like you said, it's got to feel great to go through, the largest JP event in North America, undefeated through Swiss. And then, your only loss of the day is the person who ends up winning it all. So, definitely a point of pride there.
yeah.
I do have a few overall tournament questions before we go on to the reflections here at the end, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Okay, so one I've got is, we've talked about all these different matches. We've even heard some of them from the other side, from your other interviews you've done. And so I'm curious about a few things. One being, we talked a lot about your deck list at the start. Was there any card in the list that you felt like super overperformed, or that like you weren't expecting to do very well? Like, I know you mentioned you put in the bouncer and that did a lot of help, but was there something that was doing okay in testing and then was great today, or vice versa, like something that you were like, oh, in all my testing this was always helpful, this came up every game and was amazing, but in this particular tournament it was kind of stinky and a little bit of dead weight?
Honestly, I think the 2-1 sack counter didn't do anything all day. Most of the time, I ended up just I did have it in hand as a threat, especially against Hasu, but there was just never a need to use the resources to play or do it. But in playtesting, I used it a ton as a very inexpensive way to sack for on-reverse targets or to anti-change early play standby stuff. That card underperformed for the day. Overperformed, the bouncer probably wins that slot. And, I mean, the 0-0 change, the 0-0 that you can send her to waiting room, the 0-0 Akane changer that you can send to waiting room, play something your level or lower from hand to the stage after dishing a card from hand. That card always overperforms for me as well. And it also saves me a lot of stock to use other abilities.
Yeah, I mean, that ability can be very highly rated, because like you said, it just lets you float your resources a bit more, like convert one into another, which is always a very helpful effect whenever a deck gets access to something like that. Okay, great. Yeah, so that was one I had. Another one I had was, it seems like you had, some games that were kind of close, some games that were not so close. Did you ever feel like you had a turn in one of these games where you were like, oh no, I've lost. There's no way I'm coming back from this?
Definitely the final match in top 8. So I hit a really big pocket of damage at level 1. I was like, uh-oh. This happens with Oshi, because it's very simple. Oshi doesn't want to be rushed because it takes time to build the resources to do your endgame. And I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be a problem. But, okay, I refreshed there's 8 climaxes in deck. Surely we'll cancel some here, and I won't get pushed to late 2, 3 right away. I get pushed to 2, but I only cancel 1 attack out of 3, and I was hoping to hit 2 out of the 3. And at that point I was going, we have plenty of resources, but the damage gap here is getting to be worrisome. And then another pocket stick sending me to like 3-3. And that was the turn that my opponent crashed board, which again left me no side targets. He had like 1-0-0 where I had bounced my 2-1 just in case I needed to use him to guarantee my climax combo in hand. And there was nothing to side. So I kind of knew at that point, it's like, well, I'm not getting another turn. I have to play the Akanes. I have to heal down. I have to light my endgame, because when you're level 3 in this game, you just have to go for it these days. But it's like, I know these Akanes are literally going to be swinging on praying all the burn stick, and maybe 1 swing sticks. Maybe this front here for 3, possibly 4 with a trigger, because the directs are going to overswing. I think the only other match that I was kind of a little concerned about game state was, I remember in the match against Kaiju number 8, at level 2 when they brought out all their change wall stuff, I was like, I can challenge this, but I'm hoping he doesn't just push me to 3 here. And then there was like a few I canceled moment. And the Eurocamp game was very close. The Eurocamp game, we both just kept canceling until we didn't. We both kind of ate pockets. And I remember when I was like 2-3, 2-4 when he went to level 3, but he had tons of stock. He had all the hand in the world, and I knew I was going to get triple finishered. And I was like, I hope I can survive this to answer back. Because that was like my big concern there, because I know that deck can finish from that point. We've got lots of decks in the format that can do that, but that one especially, even post-ban list can.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I'll get my questions one more time. I know we're pretty far removed from this at this point, but do you remember a game state or decision that you just sat on and like had not come up in testing, or like you really had to think about? And if you can, you want to tell us sort of like where your pros and cons were and what you ultimately ended up citing for that one?
So this is going to be kind of weird, but the one thing that I was amazed at all day with this deck was I had stock for some reason. And I'm pretty sure it's because I cut out the 0-0 Aqua memory JCs that cost 1. And I think I also brainstormed way less than I normally do. I think I like kind of slapped myself on the wrist. I was like, no, you are not going to brainstorm if your stock is clean and you don't need to. Because I tend to over spam my brainstorms. And I realized at a certain point, like, I didn't really notice it round 1, but round 2 in Kaiju and round 3 against Eurocamp, I was like, wow, I have a lot of stock. This isn't normally how this goes in playtesting. But, that's fine. That's cool. My deck uses a lot of stock. And then I had, like, I kind of felt like it was a recurring theme throughout the day, that I was like, oh, I have a lot of stock. I should probably use some of this so I don't get too badly stock swapped or stock decompressed. I think that was the one game state thing on my side of the board that I saw that kind of was like, this didn't happen in playtesting, but I also know that I changed a bunch of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, definitely awesome to hear those experiences. And, especially like wouldn't have crossed my mind, but yeah, I mean, facing Kaiju that early might make you change some of your brainstorm habits for the rest of the day.
Well, I just didn't need to do it in that matchup. My deck never hit a state that it needed to, and then I realized I was like, oh, well, I do have stock, so I'm fine if he sends me to 3 here. I would, rather not just get pushed to 3, but if I do, we can make this work.
Well, great, thank you. Let's go into what you have as your tournament reflections next, as opposed to me giving you the, interrogation.
I appreciate the interrogation. It's all good. So, I think the one standout thing all day was I actually just had great games against very talented players all day. I did not have one match that wasn't like everybody knew what their decks did. They were competent pilots on their decks. They were invested in their decks. They knew what they were doing. And honestly, I think it's one of the best parts of the Weiss community is that even when you go and play these higher competitive level events, people are polite. They're fun to play against. They're fun to interact with. So I was pretty honored that I got to play all the people that I did that day. It was pretty cool. So I don't know how you feel, but I feel like most of the time when I go to Weiss events, especially JP and English, I don't normally have issues either. I think the community is one of the best aspects of our game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the opponents you have or like how your day goes can be greatly improved based on just, the people you play against and what their attitudes are and how they take the day. Can really elevate an event. And like, for the most part, it seems like it's pretty good.
This year honestly felt like the attitude in the room and I felt like things were way more, I don't know that I would say relaxed, because I don't think that's true, but because I mean it is nationals, let's be real here. But I felt like everybody was being very friendly, and it wasn't like, it's like, yes, we're playing with the intent to win, we're playing competitively, but we can still be good community members and stewards throughout this. It would have been awesome to go a bit further and go past my 4th place at JP World Grand Prix in 2014, but I am still very proud of myself for how I performed on the event, and I'm just going to keep working hard to achieve stuff. Like I said, I think the biggest thing for the day for me was I went XO in Swiss, and I've never done that before. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I'm sure I've done it at some smaller events, but I do tend to choke and like end up with like an X1 record or something like that.
I know, I at least definitely start feeling the jitters the better I'm doing, for sure.
I start overthinking things. I think it's pretty natural. And I'll be honest with the audience, guys, in the long run, results like this are only possible with a strong community that helps with the constant playtesting, feedback, and camaraderie. I think Nice Schwarz can attest to this. We have always had a really cool, growing community in Ohio. So I have to shout out and thank everyone who has helped me playtest throughout the season, because it's not just like a slew of games before the event. It was all the locals at Paul's Gamer Zone, at Warpgate, and then our online matches and our various servers. So I really appreciate all those games. It takes a lot of testing, at least for me, to figure out what I want to play. So I feel like these kind of results just don't happen without community. And special thanks to a couple of individuals who helped me playtest a ton before: Jason Dale, Evan C., Will A., and Aubrey P. for their continual playtesting arrangements. They're the ones that helped me get ready like the last 2 weeks, and while I was, tabling my key mess and deciding to go on Oshi.
Yeah, definitely a great community you got here, and it's we've definitely had some ebbs and flows in terms of player counts over the years in the area, but I feel like we're definitely hitting a good stride now, and it's been great seeing the game grow.
It's nice seeing the game grow. I think also the growth of some other aspects in both game communities, like both JP and English have increased the number of sets they're putting out, and I think that's helping growth a lot too, because it helps cater to the different IP interests and needs and player needs. So hopefully we keep going that direction.
Absolutely.
Nice Schwarz, is there anything you would like to ask or add on Tournament Reflections?
No, I mean, I think I got, like I said, most of my questions in early. Yeah, I think that's it.
Ah, good. We're good. All right, everybody. In closing, thank you all, as always, for your support of the channel and the blog. A special thanks to Nice Schwarz for helping me out here so I wasn't just rambling, although I probably still rambled.
I mean, we're here because we want to hear about the tournament report. So these have been great, by the way.
Hey, I was brave enough to actually record this because I was like gonna just try to like hide under a rug somewhere and not record my own achievement, and I'm kind of glad I was brave enough to do this. So hopefully the community will get some perspective, get to know me and our local community a little better, and we'll have some fun at some more events coming up through the year.
Congrats again.
Thank you. All right. And this is Level 4 Nice Schwarz, Melanie Lynette signing out here, folks, and have a great evening.